Imagine walking into a convention with roughly 72,000 people, surrounded by thousands of games, packed event halls, and more things to see than you could possibly experience in 4 days. Now, imagine being responsible for running 4 tabletop role-playing games in the middle of all of that. That was my first Gen Con. Gen Con 2026 was my first time attending the con. But I wasn't there only as an attendee. I was also there representing GM.Games, and I ran 4 sessions of Daggerheart from Darrington Press. Going into the con, I knew Gen Con was big. I had seen pictures, watched videos, and heard people talk about it for years. But none of that really prepares you for walking into Gen Con and seeing the scale of it in person. With Gen Con sold out across all 4 days, there were roughly 72,000 people attending. And when you're standing in the middle of it, that number starts to feel very real. As a natural introvert, it was overwhelming but exhilarating all at the same time. There were people everywhere, playing games, meeting friends, checking out new releases, and attending events while also exploring the con. And somehow, despite how huge it was, the overall atmosphere felt surprisingly simple. Hang out, play games, and enjoy the vibes. There was always something happening, and there was always someone excited to talk about a game or their own journey through tabletop gaming. But there was also another side to the convention. If there was a hot new game that everyone wanted, you had to be ready to move, because the relaxed con energy could disappear very quickly when the doors opened in the morning. One minute, everyone was hanging out and enjoying themselves. Then the next minute, once those exhibition doors opened, they rushed for the new release. And honestly, that contrast was part of the fun. One of the biggest reasons I attended Gen Con was to run Daggerheart for players from across the country. I ran 4 games during the con while representing GM.Games. And as a game master, one of the most interesting things about the experience was seeing how differently every group approached the same scenarios. Even though most of them were strangers themselves, meeting for the very first time, once they got into character and understood the simple mechanics, the gloves were off. I knew that each party would make a different choice, but I don't think I was prepared for just how creative everyone would be. No 2 parties handled the scenarios the same way, which is to be expected. One group focused on a carefully executed plan. Then another took a completely unexpected approach. They tried to seduce a mountain troll. And spoiler alert, they succeeded. Someone would come up with an idea that I had never even considered, and suddenly I got to figure out how the world would react. And that's one of the things I love about being a forever GM. It's not about the control, it's about the experience. You can prepare the adventure, understand the setting, and anticipate what the players might do, but eventually the players will surprise you. And at Gen Con, they kept me on my toes, and I loved every second of it. Running Daggerheart for people from all over the country gave me the chance to see how different groups, strangers even, bring their own personalities, ideas, and creativity to the table. The scenarios may have started in the same place, but each session became its own story. And by the end of the con, that was one of the best core memories. I, the GM, create the opportunity, but the players create and build the story. Of course, Gen Con wasn't only about running games. There were also a few moments that made the trip especially memorable. One of my favorite moments was getting my copy of Daggerheart, Hope and Fear signed by Spencer Stark, Rowan Hall, and Rob Hebert. As someone who was there running Daggerheart, getting the opportunity to have the book signed was really special experience. I also had the opportunity to join in on the Designing for Daggerheart workshop, where they explained the minimalistic approach to Daggerheart, and the best takeaway was, just because it's not written on the adversary's stat block does not mean an adversary can't do something. GMs for a long time have only focused on what is written. I'm just as guilty of that, but hearing from the creators themselves to make it your own opened a floodgate in my imagination, and I wouldn't give that back for the world. Another memorable moment was getting the opportunity to briefly talk with and get a picture with Zach the Bold, the content creator, and Vigo Ortiz, who are currently cast members on the new season of Critical Role Age of Umbra. It was a short interaction, but it was one of those con moments that you don't expect when you walk through the doors. And those unexpected moments are part of what makes an event like GenCon memorable. Before attending, I thought GenCon would mostly be about the games. And the games are definitely a huge part of it, but after experiencing the con for myself, I think the people are what make it really special. The players who brought unexpected ideas to my Daggerheart sessions, the apparent inside joke throughout the whole con about the stink, the GMs and creators I met, even the people sharing certain recommendations, the conversations between games, and even the brief interactions that turned into memorable moments. GenCon is massive, but the experiences that stayed with me were surprisingly personal. Like a group making a creative decision to have the giant seduce a mountain troll, or a conversation with someone who shares the same passion for gaming and took that passion into designing his own game, which should be hitting Kickstarter soon. Or something as simple as a signed book and a photo. By the time GenCon 2026 ended, I was already thinking about next year. So I'm already planning my trip for GenCon 2027, and the first thing I'm doing is driving there. I've started networking with more companies so I can run more games, not only at future GenCons, but at other conventions as well. My first GenCon showed me how much I enjoy being part of the con experience as both an attendee and a GM. I went there to run 4 Daggerheart one-shots, but I left with new connections, new experiences, and a lot of ideas for what I want to do next. If you attended GenCon 2026, what was your favorite moment? And if you've never been, what would be the first thing you'd want to do? Play a game, meet some of the creators, explore the exhibitor hall, or do you want to run a game yourself? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you for joining me as I shared my first GenCon experience. And hopefully, I'll see you in GenCon 2027. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more tabletop, GMing, and gaming content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.